Hi, Karen with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I have a scrapbook layout for Kitaholics kits, and I'm using the December 2021 kit, both the main and the mixed media kit today. And I've gone for a relatively, well, actually it is a monochromatic layout today, and I really wanted to feature that lovely corally colour that's within the collection. Those flowers that you get in some of the patterned paper and in the ephemera are just too gorgeous to pass up. And I really wanted to use those wedge shapes from the patterned paper as well. And as I cut them out, I was starting to think about how I was going to place them on the page, because they don't actually sit against each other because they are from different sections of the patterned paper. Hopefully that makes sense. And I decided that it gave a bit of a look of a flower, or I'm trying to think of the flower right now that it reminded me of. It's a tropical flower that sort of feels like I think it's a bird of paradise. I've been sitting here trying to think about that for ages. Something like that was singing to me, I guess. And so to make sure I didn't have to keep fussing around with that as well, you'll see there that I have glued the pieces together. I tried it a couple of times in and off the page, and then I thought, oh my goodness, I don't want to move and change these anymore because I can't get it to come back to what it looked like. So I have glued those pieces together so I can use it as one piece to come back across the page just to see where things are sitting, whether I'm happy with where the mixed media is landing, and then we can go from there. So I bring it back and forth several times as I'm creating this one. I have pre-gessoed my white textured cardstock just with some clear gesso, and I've added some water to the color palette themselves, allowed that to soak through just to give me some paint to use. Obviously I need to add some water to the watercolors, and I've also added water to the page as well so it can float and swing around the page when I move the page up and down. And I want to give some of those troughs and things like that appear when it comes to watercolors. And then I'm going to town with some splatters. I had in mind that I didn't want the full color to be underneath those triangle wedge pieces. I wanted to be able to have some splatters that you just see through those, and you'll see what I mean and how that turned out when I in a few moments. And I just continue to splatter around. I've used a larger type bristle brush from my stash just to give some of those larger splatters, and then I come in with the brush that actually came with the watercolor palette, and that brush gives lovely little splatters across the page. And I am toning these through the colors, so I'm using the reds and a little bit of that orange, and that adding that orange really gives that corally color that I was looking for. So I continue to build those layers across the page as well with the splatters. So the photo that I'm using today is a photo of my boy from a very, very long time ago. We were visiting my grandparents, so his great-grandparents, and this was a lovely day, just sitting out on the front grass, and we were just enjoying out in the sun. And I love this photo. I think I've scrapped a photo of, at least a similar photo of this before, and even though there's shadows on the grass, it doesn't bother me. I just love this photo, and the overalls are just so cute. So I thought they would be perfect with these colors that I'm using in this layout today. So I went to town not just with the splatters but also the flowers. So I've created quite a large cluster at the bottom left hand side of the page, as you can see, and I've draped that from sort of left to right to give a bit of a semicircle around the photo as well. I have popped up some of the items on foam, including the photo, which I also did just to add some softness to the page because those wedge pieces are quite harsh. I wanted to add some softness, so I've added in just a little bit of white tissue paper from my stash just to give it, like I said, just that softer touch. And I have also added in some of the leaves. So these are from the sticker sheet, and I decided I stuck them down onto some some scrap white cardstock because I really wasn't sure whether I wanted to use them or not. So this allowed me an opportunity to move them around the page and decide whether I wanted to do them or not. And then I've just fussy cut that out and just created basically its own die cut. So then if I don't use it, I can use it in a next layout. I certainly wanted to use some of the fussy cutout butterflies from my last layout. I love these butterflies, and butterflies are perfect with flowers, so I thought I'd just add those around the page as well for some fluttery goodness. And all I've done there with this, I've just added glue to the actual stamens of the butterfly, so then I can push up the actual wings to give them the look that they are actually fluttering across the flower pieces. I have also added a border around the page with quite a thick black tip pen, and then I realized that I'd covered up that watercolor on the bottom left hand side, and it really did need some color. So I have grabbed out the palette again, just added some more water and created just lengthening out that particular piece of watercolor, and I also add in some additional splatters to that section as well in the oranges and the reds. And I finish off with another splattering of gold and white splatters as well. Can't help myself, I love some white splatters and some gold splatters, so I do go in with the Dina Wakley gloss spray and also the gold shimmer spray that we got in the mixed media kit a couple of months ago. So the layout does turn out to be quite busy, but I still really love how this one turned out. I couldn't stop. I probably should have stopped, but I'm hoping today that I've given you just a little bit of inspiration just to try something different with the patterned papers and with those adding layers to the page. I will finish off with some close-ups for you to share today. And as always, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you're having a wonderful creative month, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much for stopping by.